Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. I'm Hugh Riches. In the headlines tonight, a man is arrested following a rooftop protest in Hull, a woman is assaulted in Grimsby, and pupils rocking all over Grimsby's West March. And later in tonight's programme, I'll be talking to Madeline Goudie about flowers in Barrow. Before that, National Adoption Week with Julie Woodthorpe. A man involved in a rooftop protest in Hull has been arrested. The 19-year-old has been taken into custody on suspicion of a number of offences, including criminal damage, affray and assault. He took to the roof of the Campanile Hotel on Beverley Road in Hull yesterday afternoon. Roads were closed along Beverley Road between Fountain Road and Freetown Way as part of the operation, while police assessed the damage caused. All those roads are now open. Grimsby's Icelandic sea chill has been brought out in an £80 million deal. The acquisition was made by Hilton Food Group and is expected to be completed by November. Icelandic sea chill is the second largest UK seafood processor, and it supplies Tesco and the company behind the Saucy Fish Company. Humberside police want to trace 3 men in connection with an assault and robbery in Grimsby. The incident happened at around 11 o'clock on Monday morning when a 40-year-old woman was walking along Oxford Street and the men confronted her. One of them hit her in the face and pushed her into a bush. Her mobile phone and money were stolen. She sustained minor injuries to the nose. Brigg will be hosting a variety of tree-themed events this Christmas. The Tree of Light will return for its 3rd year. This provides an opportunity for people to place a memory card on the tree in remembrance of a loved one. The town's first festival of Christmas trees and Christmas wreaths will also be held, fairly obviously, in December. Jane Kitching of the Brigg Town Business Partnership explains the significance of the Tree of Light.
This is the 3rd year for the Tree of Light. The idea is that people can actually remember their loved ones by buying a memory card to place on the tree, and then the money will then actually go to our charities, nominated charities, which are Carer Support and a muscular dystrophy charity for North Lincolnshire. It's proved to be very successful. Numbers of people have attended the informal services increase each time. We're very grateful for the involvement of St John's Church and for Father Owen, who comes along to deliver an informal service. And then on the final day, when the lights are actually switched off the tree, we actually read out the names of the people who actually have put memory cards on the tree. So it's actually quite a moving ceremony, little service, quite informal.
Figures released today reveal that Hull City Council has made over £1 million from bus lane camera fines. 50,000 fines have been paid since their introduction in August 2015. Motorists are issued with a £60 ticket for using the lanes. Councillor Martin Mancy, portfolio holder for economic investment, regeneration and planning at the council, says the money is used to maintain and upgrade roads across the city. Lincolnshire Police have been promoting awareness of modern slavery today as part of Anti-Slavery Day in a bid to encourage more people to spot the signs. The force says modern slavery exists in many aspects of daily life and victims are vulnerable people who've been manipulated or forced into a vicious cycle of harm. 11 criminals were sentenced in September as part of Operation Pottery, receiving sentences of up to 15.5 years in prison. It was one of the largest operations fighting slavery in the country. The students of Littlecoats Primary School have spent this morning rocking all over the world. Jeff Rich, former drummer for Status Quo, brought his drum masterclass to the school. He's been touring schools across the country with his workshops for the past 15 years, and he's visited over 7,000 schools. He says the idea behind the workshops is to inspire the young pupils to get interested in drums or any other musical activity.
It started when my kids' primary school and the head teacher asked me to go in, and then the local schools heard about it and they asked me to go in. TS did an article, and I had schools all over the UK ask me to come and do a workshop in their school. So it was by accident, really. Initially I talked to them about how I got into the music business, then I got into how the drum developed from Africa all the way through the European drums. It's all interactive with the kids, so all the kids get to join in. And then I got the kit set up behind me. I go through the whole kit, play for them, do a solo, and then they all get up and play percussion. I'm trying to put across that music is a fun thing to do. It's not a chore, it's a fun thing. And you can enjoy it by playing with other people, other musicians, and it's a thing that you can do it all the way through your life, and do gigs in pubs and clubs and that sort of thing. And it's a social thing as well. You meet a lot of musicians. Chap behind me, by the way, is my technician. That's where you can see all this set, because we're going to another school now, so that's why we've got to pack it all down ready. It's about inspiration, because some of the schools I go to, they're quite, tough areas, deprived children, who wouldn't get the chance to see anything like this. And there's going to be one or two kids that sit there and think, that's what I want to do, I want to play music. And that's what it's all about. That little spark of inspiration starts the ball rolling.
Now, it's National Adoption Week. There are over 2,000 children hoping to be adopted in England. And I'm joined now by Julie Woodthorpe, the panel chair for Hull Adoption Service. Julie, welcome. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for inviting me.
What's happening in this special week, National Adoption Week?
Well, National Adoption Week is an opportunity for all the local authorities who run adoption services and the voluntary agencies that also run adoption service to publicise some of the work that they do and to encourage people to come forward as adopters. It's also about myth busting, in terms of some people still have an idea that you can't adopt if you're single, if you're on benefits, if you don't own your own house, if you're in a same-sex relationship. None of that's true. We welcome applications from adopters from a diverse range of people, and actually we encourage people with difference to come forward.
Criminal records?
Criminal records aren't an absolute no-no, apart from issues of assault. And legislation says we can't prove anybody that's been convicted of assault, which makes sense.
That seems very sensible, doesn't it? If people want to know more, are interested in the idea of adoption, how should they get in touch?
Well, there's several ways you can do that. In this region at the moment, we are developing what's called an agency called One Adoption, which all local authorities are joining together in this area. That's York, North Yorkshire, East Yorkshire, Hull, North East Links and North Links. Remember the last one.
Well done.
Yes, and we're going to be called One Adoption Yorkshire and Humber. We have our website, so you can go on the website to make contact and learn a bit more about adoption. Alternatively, you can ring 01482 612 800, which will take you through to Hull's Adoption Service. Or if you want to text the word adopt in capital letters to 82055.
Okay, I think that's plenty of ways of getting in touch. How many children are there seeking adoption in well, you know Hull best, I suppose, don't you? In the region. In the region,
the 6 authorities that I've just mentioned, we're looking for adoptive homes for 100 children. In Hull, we're looking for homes for 23 children. That's 17 single children plus 3 sibling groups of 2.
So it's important, if you possibly can, to have siblings together.
Yes, yes. It's very unusual that we will separate siblings. It does happen for reasons that are about the needs of the children.
What ages are these children?
Our youngest is 0
right.
to 7 years old. There is a scheme called Urgency Permanency Planning, which means that the normal way to become adopters is you have a child that's in foster care first, and then they move to adoptive placement. Early permanency planning is where you take a child and foster that child for a significant number of weeks until the court makes the decision that the care plan for that child is adoption. So you actually have the baby straight from hospital in some cases.
What happens? I mean, there's unfortunate circumstances that lead children to need adoption, but what happens if they're over 7 then? Is there another route that they can go?
Over 7s, unfortunately, the statistics show that the older a child is, the more likely that an adoption is going to disrupt. Very often children over 7 have very close bonds with their natural birth family, and usually those children will be fostered for a number of years, and we're also looking for foster carers all over the region as well.
And if they have those close bonds with their natural family, And yet, for various reasons, possibly to do with the law, they're not allowed to live with them.
Yeah.
They can't stay there.
But they continue to see their birth family.
I've got friends who've adopted. I've got friends who've been adopted as well, and happy experiences on both sides. But the process of becoming an adopter, of adopting a child, it's a couple of years of paperwork and constant grilling, isn't it?
No, I wouldn't say it's a couple of years of paperwork. The legislation changed a few years ago, and once you start the adoption process and an application is accepted from you, then there's a 2-month period where you do relevant training, and the references are taken up and the statutory checks are done, and then the actual assessment by the social worker takes 4 months. So that actually is quite a concise piece of work.
That's a much better system than the one that pertained before, I think.
There is a period of time before that the assessment starts where you're giving information and training to actually help you make the decision that adoption is the right route for you.
And once that court order is made, you are the legal parents of that child.
Yes.
Whatever else happens to me, and that's
you can't give them back at that point.
Very close bond.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming in and telling us about that. I hope you have an absolutely excellent National Adoption Week, and that your 100 children find new parents.
Thank you very much.
So much. Join me after the break. Dan will bring us a roundup of the latest sporting action, and I'll be talking to Madeline Goudie about green fingers in Barrow. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, Dan brings us a roundup of all the latest sports news, and I'll be talking to Madeline Goudie about gardening in Barrow. An internet scammer has been jailed after conning victims on online auction sites. 39-year-old Norman Fowler from Gox Hill took payments for items he advertised on eBay and Gumtree, but failed to send them to the buyers. His crimes totalled £21,000 over a 5-month period in 2013. He conned 9 victims. He received a 1.5-year prison sentence today. The shortlist of nominations for the 6th North Lincolnshire Council Community Champion Awards have been revealed. 175 nominations received, and these have been whittled down to 51 individuals and groups across 23 award categories. The nominees include Kian Borg-Jackson and Brooke McKenna for Young Volunteer of the Year, Dr. Pat Frankish and Sue McLean for Outstanding Achievement Adult, and Helen Frost and Jeff and Val Lehman for Community Champion of the Year. The winners will be announced at an awards ceremony on the 23rd of November at the Baths Hall in Scunthorpe. East Riding Council has commissioned an artwork by Grimsby-born artist Gary Saunt. The huge digital painting, which measures 20 metres in length, has been produced to celebrate the City of Culture in Hull and the East Riding. The artwork takes the viewer on a cultural pilgrimage from Beverley to Hull using the artist's dreamscape method. The exhibition opens to the public at the Beverley Art Gallery on Saturday and runs until the 2nd of December. Now, 2 national broadcast journalists are coming to Beverley this week. Peter Snow and Anne Macmillan will be giving a talk as part of the Lit Up Festival on Friday evening at Tolgavil Church. They've seen and covered much between them, and they'll discuss courage, cunning and compassion in the turbulence of war. Their talk will recount the courage of Edward Seager, who survived the charge of the Light Brigade, and the incredible escape of John Bulkley and a handful of the crew of a Royal Navy warship wrecked on the coast of Chile. Barrow in Bloom has recently been awarded a Silver Gilt Award for their work this year, and I'm joined now by Madeline Goudie to tell me about the success already achieved and what lies ahead. Madeline, welcome. Thank you very much, and congratulations on the award.
Thank you.
How big an award is that?
It's taken us 4 years, and we are hoping for gold next year, which is when we're starting to get better, really. It's all about volunteers.
Gold isn't the top. There's better than gold.
Yes. Once you get to gold, then it goes to best in category. And this is in East Midlands in Bloom. After that, then you get Britain in Bloom. When you start again, really, then you have 2 competitions in a year. If for Immingham Town Council, that they are gold, best in category for East Midlands, and then for Britain in Bloom as well. And that's what we want Barrow to be for the small villages.
A little bit of rivalry going on there.
Oh yes.
Since you're an ex-Immingham girl yourself.
I am, yeah.
Okay. So you're going to try to go up that hierarchy. Who's judging you? Who is presuming to judge the beautiful horticultural work that you do?
It changes every time. It normally, people who have the experience within Bloom themselves, that they've actually started as volunteers and then worked their way up and then said that they think they've got enough knowledge to be a judge. Anyone can be. If you're interested in gardening and have anything to do with East Midlands, then you can do it. They joked and asked me once, but I'm not quite there yet.
I'm sure you are. But it's not just a matter of taking them around town and showing them beautiful gardens and in the way that you've encouraged flowers and other plants to thrive in your towns and your communities. There's a bit more to it than that.
Yes, it's getting volunteers involved. It's getting the village being proud, really. They look after their own front gardens, litter picking. You get the joys of cleaning ditches and really random things, but people will start putting hanging baskets up themselves, come and volunteer, help me maintain the flower beds. We've got 16 in Barrow now. We're hoping to aim to get 20. And then after
hanging
that,
baskets?
Flower beds.
Flower beds, right, sorry.
Yeah, we've got ones with, because it's called Barrow upon Humber, we have Barrow's Barrow every year when people decorate barrows into everything. We've had some fantastic ones and it becomes a competition. So we have that every summer to get people involved, because we have 5 different groups in Barrow as well of volunteers, and Barrow in Bloom's just the newest one.
Well, I was just going to ask, if people do want to volunteer, it sounds as if you've got an awful lot, the whole population seems to be involved, but if people do want to volunteer, want to know more, want to get involved, how should they get in touch?
Yes, it's either call me on my personal mobile.
Do you want to give out the number?
Yes.
It's up to you.
Yes, no, that's fine. It's 0789 1211234, or email the town clerk, which is Angela Grounds, and her email's barrowpc@hotmail.co.uk.
Now, it's a real communal effort, isn't it? You're describing people looking after their own gardens, which is, you know, every Englishman's home is his castle. That's his or hers to do with it, but they choose to make it contribute to the sort of community success. So it's a very sociable thing to be doing.
It is, yes. I feel like I don't actually live in Barrow myself, but I'm hoping to at some point. But I do feel like I know most of the village. This year we're trying to get more people involved by doing local competition, which is either front garden, back garden and best business.
Best business?
Yes. Yeah, we do have 2 pubs. We've got 3 nurseries nearby, which we work with, butchers, we've got tea rooms, and it's getting them all involved. So in the square, we've got hanging baskets and troughs and everything everywhere now. So it does look quite stunning during
I'm imagining
summer.
this place that looks like the most beautiful town in anybody's imagination of England from the description that you're giving to it.
Yes, we're getting there. It's just more volunteers. We have a core group of 5 at the moment, and we have 10, 15 other people who do help throughout the year. But it's getting people who are going to come week in, week out, really. But it's obviously weather depending.
It's mid-October. What should we be doing in the garden?
Plant swap over. We go from summer annuals to winter annuals, just to get the colour back. This time of year, they are looking a bit sad, some of them. As soon as it gets cold, they'll totally die off. We've got the winter hanging baskets out and ready.
Oh, really? What have you got hanging in the winter hanging baskets? It's not easy to get a lot of colour in the winter, is it?
No, with the nursery that we go through, which is Tuplin's, he normally puts a few heathers. We have ivy. Just annuals, we have a mix every year. We do try and mix it up so it doesn't get boring.
Yeah,
but
it's a matter of texture and shape as well as anything else. As much
yes,
as flowers,
definitely.
isn't it?
And in summer, you do have a much larger choice than in winter.
Okay, Madeline, you're clearly an extremely green-fingered gardener. Thank you so much for coming in, and thank you for being so proud of Barrow.
Yeah,
and good luck with raising a few volunteers and the competition.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, rather sadly for Estuary TV, I'm afraid for the last time, here's Dan with all the sports news.
We'll start with rugby, and Hull FC and Hull Kingston Rovers will go head-to-head at next season's Magic Weekend following the Robins' return to Super League. It's been announced today that the Hull Derby will draw the showcase event to a close on Sunday the 20th of May next year. It will again take place at St James's Park in Newcastle. Both teams will learn their ticket allocation in the new year. Meanwhile today, FC's Scott Taylor has been named in the England team to be involved in their World Cup warm-up against affiliated states out in Australia. That game takes place on Friday, just a week before the tournament gets underway. England head coach Wayne Bennett has named all of his 24-strong party in the squad for the game. Meanwhile, Hull KR's top point scorer last season, Jamie Ellis, has signed for Castleford Tigers in the last couple of hours. He's penned a 3-year deal from Huddersfield. Football now, and Grimsby Town are now just 3 points shy of the League Two playoffs. Sariki Dembele scored 2 of the Mariners' 3 first-half goals in the 3-2 win at Cheltenham last night. Danny Collins scored the other to help Town up to 11th in the division. Next up, they face Morecambe on Saturday. And elsewhere, Scunthorpe United drew their game last night 1-1. Lee Novak had given the Iron the lead over Fleetwood at Glanford Park, but Geordie Hirula equalised for the visitors at just 5 minutes from time. United remain 12th in League Two and are still just 2 points from the playoffs. Hull City have announced the creation of a Hall of Fame today to honour former players, managers and others associated with their 113-year-long history. A 7-strong panel will be put together to decide on the club's first 5 inductees that will be unveiled at an event next February. And in another line of Hull City news, David Myler has been given the Player of the Month award for September. He starred in the Tigers midfield, scoring 2 goals last month. And North Ferriby United's Curtis Bateson is targeting more goals with the Villagers, having returned to the starting lineup in recent weeks. The winger says he feels a lot sharper after being in and out of Steve Howson's side recently. They currently sit bottom of the National League North. Next up, they host Telford United at the Eon Visual Media Stadium on Saturday. And that's all for the sport.
Thanks very much, Dan. And we say farewell to Dan after 3 years here at Estuary TV. He's been a valuable and talented member of the news team, he writes here. We wish him all the best. He's not in any peril or anything. He's not going away. But we wish him all the best. He's going off to go and to get a better job. We'll all miss him anyway. That's it for tonight. If you've a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages, email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472 31 555 as indicated below me, or you can write to us at Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, North East Lincolnshire, DN 345BQ. Until tomorrow, good evening.